Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, this is our second week of our Searchlight Churchwide Fellowship Meetup. Woo! I hope you guys had a good time last week. We've never done this before. I had a blast. If you are new here, we just want to welcome you to Searchlight Fellowship. We are a church that meets online right now, but have met in homes, not in a building, but in homes with amazing hosts who are hosting their friends and family to hear God's word every week and have spiritual growth and healing and seeing the power of God. And so today is not an official fellowship, it's a holiday meetup, but you're gonna get a little taste of what we do here at Searchlight, because we're gonna hear a verse in God's word, and then we're gonna hear amazing testimonies on how that verse relates to their testimony and their story, and how they saw God big. And isn't that, we need that right now. It's been so dark this year. It's almost New Year's, so Happy New Year. But also that, God can be there for you guys anytime you want and anytime you need. He is always wanting to be there for you. He has unconditional love for you. And so I can't wait to hear the verse and the testimonies from two of my favoriteest people. I'm so excited to welcome them and introduce them. But Alberto and Mavey are amazing hosts, and they have just been healed. They are two brand new people, because they have seen God work in their lives and they've got so much healing. They are amazing. So I'm so excited to introduce them, Alberto and Mavey.
Happy New Year, everybody. Hello. Good to be here with you all. Hello, everyone. Man, it's great to be here with Mavey, who's just one of my near and dears. So we actually were just talking before we started recording about this verse. So if you want to follow along, it's something that really spoke to both of us. It's in Hebrews 11:1. It's the New King James Version if you want to follow along. And here's what it says. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So maybe you were talking about something before we started recording this really wonderful story about your life. Man, I'd love to, want to take it away. I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, thank you, Alberto. This verse spoke to me because of the part that said not seen. And it really reminded me of myself as a kid. I would always make up things. I was an eldest child. I was a lonely child. I didn't have anyone to play with. For as long as I can remember, I'd try to entertain myself, make things up in my head to make the ordinary extraordinary. And as I grew older, it became also a form of escape from things that were making my life feel sad or making my life feel, I don't know. I just wanted to even be somebody else and be somewhere else. I spent a lot of time in internet chat rooms and trying to even give myself different names and try to be someone I'm not, to try to cope with what my circumstances were at the time. And this is how I lived my life until I graduated college. And by that time, I felt like I was so tired, and it was like the end of a race with my entire go-kart completely falling apart, and just me holding the steering wheel okay, is this it? Is this, I just finished college and now what? Is this going to be the rest of my life? I'm going to have to do that for the rest of my life. And so I thought I had a really bleak outlook on the future. And I wasn't excited for the rest of my life, unfortunately. And when I went to fellowship for the first time, I felt like I already tried all my options, and at the time I was also trying therapist, but it wasn't working out. I didn't have enough money to go to therapy. It's expensive. And I think when I started learning about God and Jesus for the first time, I had a little difficulty believing. So, but something that helped me was well, it's just kind of like imagination, and I'm good at imagination. Yeah. I'm just gonna, I kind of had protected myself a little bit by saying well, maybe it's not real, but maybe it's just, I'll just imagine that it is. And even through that, I started seeing things in my life changing,
Mhm.
and like the evidence of things not seen,
Yeah.
and how God says, like, test all things, because
Yeah.
like he says he's love and his word is truth, and truth holds up even when you inspect it. And
Yeah.
so that really was like a really awesome part start of
Yeah.
my journey. I remember people telling me, like, don't check your brain at the door,
Yeah.
test all things, hold fast to what's good. And I began experiencing peace for the first time. I was experiencing tremendous healing in the area of depression. I thought I was going to be sad for the rest of my life. Like, if that's you, you don't gotta be sad for the rest of your life, because I really thought I had like 10 years of just like, here's my depression resume and this is what my outlook's going to be like. But it really, here I am like a year or two later, and I'm witnessing a lot of the substance of things hoped for. I
Yeah.
think that I remembered, like, probably the area of the greatest hurt has been an area of family, and um just coming from like kind of a broken family, or like things that were really heartbreaking as a kid, from like um my parents were divorced, and there was just a lot of things around like homelessness or like domestic violence, and like I was even away from my primary caretakers for a while. And even now I'm coming to terms with like unpacking what that means for me as an adult, like, oh, those
Right.
things probably had some profound impact on me, and
Totally.
trying to
Yeah.
include God in that. But I've never thought that I would see like my family's kingdom being rebuilt. And that's only happened recently, since I've been getting to know Jesus, and like applying some of the things I've been learning, what it's like to live my life, putting on God's word.
Yeah.
And if that's not like, that's the most evidential thing I've ever seen. I don't think like my imagination couldn't have made that up. Like even self-help, I don't think could have, like, maybe it would have helped me, but I don't think it could have
Yeah.
changed the
Yeah.
culture. I feel like
Good.
Jesus
Yep.
changes culture. Love is so powerful. And I believe in love. Like, I can't see it, but I really believe it. I'm surrounded so much. I'm connected now more than ever during quarantine with people, and experiencing the joy. I never thought it could be so wonderful. I was always so isolated and alone. I thought that was going to be me for the rest of my life. That's the
Mm.
only way I knew how to live. And now there's like a way better way to do that. And
Yeah.
man,
Love it.
that's
No,
that's
I love that actually. I really do. I relate so much to what you're saying there. I mean, because you're right, like God's love isn't something that I can see. That's actually something that I am more recently starting to work on is like walls have been a huge thing throughout my entire life. I came from an abusive household, so that's part, in some ways, it's been part of my DNA. I've done things where it's like I've either I've written people off in the area of dating, or even with like, with platonic relationships and everything, even with men, the more dominant somebody is, sometimes I feel like I have to be even more dominant than them. It's kind of like having to one up them in some way. Um, so I felt like for me, God's love is something that I can't see, but it's something that I've actively been trying to work on to be, to just receiving, because I prayed more for other people than I have for what God and Jesus have for me. And I just wanted to share something that happened just a few weeks ago when I was praying about this. And because when I prayed, the first thing that I noticed is that every time I got on my hands and knees was how anxious I was feeling, because I just learned very quickly that whenever I feel vulnerable, it almost feels like it's a gateway or a door or permission to let somebody take advantage of me in some way. And I noticed that I was feeling that even in my prayer, and it's not something I like. So I've been feeling it pretty often, but like it's getting better. But I want to share something with you that, like, because the thing is like I want to see that, for one, that I'm a child of God, I'm receiving, and I'm filled to overflowing with God's love. So here's actually what I saw when I was praying. I was praying, and the first thing that came to mind is it's kind of like these waves that are coming in, and there's a 6-year-old version of me who's like running along the waves, and he's with Jesus. He's having a the blast, like the time of his life, running away from waves and just having a great time. And the first thing is that I don't remember ever being happy as a 6-year-old. I never remember that. But first off, there was something amazing about seeing the boy with Jesus that was so nourishing to me. And Jesus is like waving. He's like, come on over. Let's, it's like, I want to tell you something. And he's like, I want to take you somewhere else because it's a remote island. There's nothing there. And I'm like, where do you want to go? He's like, he points out to the sea. I'm like, there's like nothing there. It's just water. And the boy charges right out to the sea. And there's like this platform that's just developing like right as he's like running across the water. And he's doing it with such ease and freedom and Jesus is like, now it's your turn to come. And I remember in the vision feeling really like scared because I was like, I'm stepping away from what I know. This is what's protected me for so long, is being here. And as we're going through this path, it's like, as we're getting close to this other island, and it's beautiful. Like, I love being in nature, but this spoke to me so much. It's like, there's a crowd of people. My friends are all waiting for me. There's like this pink vanilla sky that's happening in the background. And it looks so glorious. And as the island behind me, it begins to fade away. And it's amazing. It's like this festivity. And the boy is like jumping around and he runs on. But what caught me off guard is he leaps and he actually lands into my arms. So I'm holding 6-year-old me and Jesus is there. And the more that I hold the boy, the more he becomes a part of me. And then I feel just renewed, and I feel like I can actually jump, be happy, and enjoy the other people. And to have Jesus in the midst of it, was insanely incredible because I was like, wow, this feels like, how can I describe it? It's almost as if I'm seeing water or the sky for the first time, and that for me is like, it's in the love that both Jesus and God are giving to me. That's where I'm finding the faith and for the things that are hoped for in other areas, when it comes to like even if it's dating, like there is a faith that God has a path. There's something that's there for me, that it's available. So this has actually been more evident to me now of like how much, the more that I've been praying, the more that I see the evidence of the things that are not seen, if that makes any sense, because I can experience it. It's not behavior modification. It's readily available. So that's been a new thing for me. This is just 3 weeks ago.
Alberto, that's so cool.
Amazing. Just absolutely amazing.
I started tearing up a little bit because you were saying how it was like now you could be jumping around with everyone. I was like, yes, like you are included. Like God for you, not just for everyone else. It's like God for me too. I can be like partying with everyone else.
Yeah. So good. But you know what? Like, so everybody who's listening, like, this is also available to you as well. And just like what Mavey said, it's available to you guys too. And you know what? One thing I'm excited about is like, honestly, no matter what your spiritual walk is, whether you believe or you don't, there is something very special and unique. You have everything to gain from our next fellowship series, which is called Believing. That'll start on the week of January 10th. Good people, spiritual people, growing people, safety and a safety to find God in it. So, man, we're over the moon. So it starts in New Year. You can sign up, searchlightfellowship.org, the app. I'd love to meet you guys and have a festivity with you all. So guys, that's available. And so you can sign up today. There's many fellowships that are happening all over, but man, join us for that ride because we'd love to have you guys and be a part of that growing family. So love having you guys. And guys, Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I hope to meet new spiritual gym buddies. And even if you've never done this before, that's like that was me. And I would love to talk to you. And yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yay.